Okay, kind of a quick video about how do you find the grip that you want. So it's clear that a lot of players play either with what you call a very strong hand, which is on top, or a strong hand under, or both hands more weaker, or combinations thereof. So generally speaking, the club face is much more controlled by the lead hand, assuming you're not actively doing something or running out of arm. When you run out of arm, then the club starts to conform to wherever this hand is placed. But if you're getting to the ball with still some arm extension left, which is ideal, then this is going to control it more. So here's how I would suggest. So let me go back. I think it's important to have a motion first and then figure out. You don't want to conform your grip. You don't want to conform your motion to your grip and stance and posture. You want to make your grip and stance and posture work with a good motion. So I think the reason people become encumbered in their movement is because they're taught all these static elements and they get those in place, and then when they go to swing, it doesn't go. Their natural swing doesn't go where they want it to go. So then they start altering their movement and they say that's a good swing, that's a bad swing, as often as not, bad grip, bad stance, bad position, bad posture is just as likely as bad motion. And if you create things that don't match well, then your motion will get what we would call bad, because it's trying to fix that you're not in the right place. So that's the first thing. But then let's assume you've got a motion that makes sense to you. Now, how do you get a grip that is going to match that motion? So first thing is, the grip needs to be not, so if you put a club down and you just go out to grip it, you're very likely to grip it sort of across the middle of your hand like this, because your hand just reaches out. That's where it lines up. You grip it that way, and that's not so good. So what you actually want in a grip is something that feels much closer to a right angle, if that makes sense. So I think Count Yogi's version of this was kind of cool. So he would sit there, I don't know why he always stood 45 degrees, but he would sit there, he would look at the club face, and what he was looking at was where's that angle of the leading edge, right? So get the leading edge perfectly vertical, hold this club out with this hand, reach with this hand now, like at a 90 degree, and then put your grip on it. And then that is a good left hand grip. So setting it up at this angle puts it in the right place of the hand. Then when your hand goes down, and you'd also see this, if you go look at, say, Ben Hogan, this hand is like shooting the ground, right? That's because he's gripping it across here, and the hand has to bend down to get to that position. And what that does is create the proper range of motion and release of the club. So you've got that one. This one just goes as much in the fingers, I think, for at least for me, because my hands are small. My flaw would be to get too much in the hand or too under it. So I try to get as much on top this hand and as much in the fingers. So I put it right across there. Hold that over. I think that hand is generally a little less important. So the tension needs to be in these fingers holding it against this palm. That also, so if you hold it there, it keeps your wrists mobile. So you want the tension in these fingers. And then, so you've got that, and then find yourself an impact position, and while you're doing that, you're just watching, where's my club face? And when you get your club face square to your target, reach in there, and there you are. There's your impact. Now you don't have to start your swing from there. You can. I think it's probably actually a little better to start your swing a little this way so that you're not inclined to go this way. So you want to go this way into the backswing and maintain this angle a little bit. That's better. So there you go. And if you want to test, am I square? Take, and with this hand, just a couple fingers, pull, and let this arm relax. And that's where you're going to go at speed because your arm will be under tension. And then just set it down there. There's my square. And now we'll test the theory out. And there's a pretty straight shot. So, it's not necessarily going to be the same for everyone. So you just try those different versions, and if lining up perfectly square doesn't make sense, what you want to do is find a way to standardize it, right? So if lining up square like this doesn't make sense, give it 5 degrees every time. Say, maybe that's where I want to be. Feels funny to me, but I could probably make this work too. So that was different for me. So what happens for me, interestingly, if I make my hand a little weaker, I am inclined to actually then release the club better. So if I get too strong, I know I can't release it, so I hang on. If I get weaker, I know I have to go ahead and release the club. So for me, moving toward weaker is actually weaker, more this way. It is actually produces more speed and power. So if I was going to do this exercise, it would probably be best for me going a little bit open like that. Set it down. Feels awkward. Now I grab it with my other hand. And it just produces a different motion through the ball there for me. So figure it out for yourself. Figure out how to be consistent. Get your motion first. And then try that grip. And then just apply your motion. See where it goes. I generally think relaxed, passive hands are better because they become predictable, trying to do something with the face, add impact. So I think the other way you can find this is this way, but you don't want to find it is this way. So give yourself some angle, some way to feel like you're getting that angle in this hand first, and then work from there. It's going to be a little left. No, not bad. So there's the answer, but really, generally speaking, in the fingers, more right angles than like this. That's where you want to land. And then just make it match your motion. So back and forth, back and forth. Okay, now I felt like, well, I got that grip, but now I feel like my motion is compensating for that grip. So now I'm going to go back. Find my motion. Okay, I've got my motion idea again. Okay, now let's try my grip again. So I got my motion. I keep in my mind feeling the motion, finding my grip, right in the fingers, keeping the fingers. Now I get my motion. Seemed pretty good. A little bit more of a draw there. So that's it. That's how you find your grip. So you need a standard that you can repeat over and over again and then say, okay, that's my standard and I know what that's going to do given everything else is relaxed. But really important, again, the tension is right here. If you grip with this thumb and forefinger, you immobilize your wrist. So this keeps your wrist fluid. Test it for yourself. Pick up a club, hold it in this, just gripping with this, and feel how mobile it is, and then grip it with the finger and thumb and feel how it constrains the mobility. And it's very obvious once you feel it. So pinch it hard here, try to move it around, pinch it just with these fingers, and try to move it around. Very different. So there you go, work on that. So the grip is a constant, I think, thing to constantly go back and work on and figure out what is the perfect grip for me. Now, the perfect grip for somebody, like I said, might be really strong or really weak, but it's not going to be for almost anybody across the palm like that. So, there you go.